Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back again, and welcome to another DVD and Blu-ray update. This is only half of the stuff that I've got so far this month, but what I've decided to do now for the rest of my updates is watch everything before I show it to you guys, because it's something that I enjoy other people doing, and it's something that I want to incorporate myself. I just feel that I'm going to give an overall better video that way, and you guys know my opinions on the movies, so let's get started. So we'll start with the one and only Blu-ray first, and that is A Christmas Story. Unfortunately, this one didn't arrive before Christmas, so I didn't watch it over the Christmas period. I have seen the movie a couple of times before, and it's a great little Christmas movie. I know a lot of you guys have already seen it. If you haven't, it's well worth checking out. So that's A Christmas Story on Blu-ray. Haven't watched the Blu-ray as yet. I'm saving it to next Christmas, but yeah, glad to finally own it. Next up we have Red Dawn with Charlie Sheen and Patrick Swayze. I was expecting to enjoy this movie a lot more than I did. I still think it's a really good film though, just not quite as good as I was expecting. It's a little bit too long. It could have done with a little bit tighter editing, especially throughout the middle of the movie where it sort of dragged on a bit and was kind of slow going. This movie's about a small American town that gets invaded by some foreign soldiers. These small group of teenagers escape to the mountains and basically try and take them on. Get a whole lot of weapons, get like food and supplies, and just hide out in the mountains and like stage little wars and try and hinder the soldiers from taking over. If you've seen Tomorrow When the War Began, it's fairly similar to that, and I do believe there's a remake of this coming out this year, so that should be interesting. But I thought it was good, but nothing utterly amazing. Next up we have The Little Girl Who Lives Down the Lane. A really good movie, but completely different to what I was expecting. I will say amazing performance from a very young Jodie Foster. She was fantastic in this. I definitely recommend this to everyone out there. It was really good. I enjoyed the character and story development. I thought it was really well done. Kind of airy in parts as well, but yeah, as I said, it was nothing like I was expecting. So if you haven't seen this and it's of interest to you, just keep an open mind when you view this movie. Next up we have Dolly Dearest. This is a killer doll movie from the early 90s, I believe. Pretty good, nothing overly amazing. Child's Play is still a lot better, but still really good. It had a great sort of low budget, cheesy feel to it, so if you're a fan of killer doll movies, I'd definitely recommend checking it out. Next we have Babysitter Wanted. This is probably my biggest disappointment, or at least one of them, in this update. I was expecting to like this a lot more than I did. It's basically a rip-off of The House of the Devil, really similar to that, but nowhere near as good, about a young college student who takes a babysitting job, arrives at the house, and yeah, the child that she's looking after is not what she expected. The first half of the movie was pretty good, but then the second movie, the second half of the film, it really went downhill for me. It took sort of more of a kind of taking the piss sort of comedy element to it, and I really didn't care for that. The two sort of, well, the whole family really didn't take their roles that seriously, I don't think, or it wasn't as serious enough as it should have been, in my opinion. So yeah, really didn't care for this one at all. So that's Babysitter Wanted. Next up we have Wilderness. This is a brilliant British movie about a group of young offenders who was sent to an isolated island for like rehabilitation. Something happens to one of their cellmates, and as punishment, the rest of the people in the cell are sent to this isolated island for like a survival weekend. Really, really good. Some fantastic gore effects in this one. Pretty good cast of characters as well. They definitely all played their roles really, really well, I thought. I guess you could kind of classify this as a slasher movie, because once they get onto the island, they're sort of stalked off one by one, and as the movie goes on, the killer gets revealed and the reason why he's doing all the killings. So that's Wilderness. If you haven't checked it out, I'd highly recommend this one. Really good. Next up we have Nightmares, which is a Australian slasher movie from 1980, I believe. This was pretty terrible. I went in with a pretty open mind because I'd heard a lot of mixed things on it, and it wasn't absolute garbage, but it's nothing overly amazing. It's sort of about this girl who her mother died when she was a young little girl. There's a lot of like blame and guilt that she's put on herself over the years, and as she then it sort of goes to when she's a young adult and she auditions and gets a part in a stage production, and of course the rest of the cast starts sort of getting killed off one by one. It's pretty stock standard, nothing special at all, but I will say really, really nice stylish kills. The kill style reminded me a lot of the Giallo movie, so the kill style was pretty nice, but other than that, pretty average all round. Then I picked up 2 more editions of Halloween, the DVD and Blu-ray. These are just basically for my Halloween collection. Anyone that follows my channel knows how much I love Halloween. My favourite horror movie of all time. If you haven't seen it, definitely see it ASAP. Excellent, excellent movie. Umbrella recently released, well, as of last December, they released a DVD and Blu-ray version of Halloween, so I had to pick it up for my collection. And I will just say that the Blu-ray release is top notch, well worth picking up. Next we have a completely different themed movie, one that I loved growing up as a teenager with, is Heavyweights. This is one of those really, really fun family kid movies from the mid-90s, you know, when they actually made decent kid and family films back then. Really fun, about a group of overweight pre-teens that are sent to a fat camp. The owners have to sell up, and basically this big fitness guru comes in and tries to take over and basically turn the overweight teenagers into real health fitness fanatics. You know, just a ton of fun. It's got that great vibe that a lot of the fantastic kid Walt Disney movies had from the 90s. Really fun cast of characters. A lot of the characters are from the Mighty Ducks series, so if you haven't seen that and you know you're a fan of sort of kid family or Disney movies from the 90s, I'd highly recommend this one. A lot of fun. And the last movie for this update is Adventures in Babysitting. I'd never really hear too many people talk about it. This is a late 80s movie, and I hadn't seen it in years. It's one that I can remember hiring out on VHS as a kid, but yeah, as I said, haven't seen it in years. Still good, but it didn't quite hold up as well as I was expecting it to. Still a lot of fun though. You know, it's got that great 80s sort of teen comedy vibe to it, about a teenage girl called Chris who takes on a babysitting job for a family with like a little girl, a teenage brother and his friend. So she's babysitting them for the night. Her friend brings up like from a bus station downtown, really, really freaked out. and it's up to Chris and the kids tag along with her to go out at night and pick the friend up, and of course a lot of things happen to them throughout the night, and yeah, it's just a pretty fun movie, but not quite as good as I was hoping or as I remembered it to be. So, but still, if you're a fan of sort of teen comedies from the 80s, I definitely would recommend checking this one out. It is pretty underrated. So that's Adventures in Babysitting. And that's it for this update. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. As always, if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know in the comment section below. I do have a couple of other updates planned for the next couple of weeks, including an all-action Blu-ray update, so definitely stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'm really getting into my action movies at the moment, so I'm looking forward to doing that update. That update will probably be the next one, and it should be uploaded late next week or next weekend, so stay on the lookout for that, and thanks a lot for watching.